Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Conjure Corner here on YouTube. I am going to be wrapping up on our last reading. I'm going to say for the month of October, but I'm going to use the term October very loosely because y'all know I was supposed to do 4 readings last month, but you know, whatever. Life happens, no rush. It's literally divine timing anyways. I think that right now is actually the perfect time to do our very last reading, as we'll have different things coming in the month of November. But we are wrapping up on Hoodoo Heritage Month. I hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful October. I hope that you all took the time to get to honor and get to know your ancestors a little bit better and learn some more about our history today. Share this video. I feel like this is a really important video for everyone to share. I'm actually going to be telling the story of one of our collective or community ancestors today. I actually don't think that a lot of you have heard the story of Lena Baker, but Lena Baker is who we're going to be discussing today. I don't know about you all, but I never found her story in any of the history books growing up in school. Actually, I remember as a child, the only way that I heard her story or I learned about her family was actually through my grandmother. There was actually a movie that was put out in, I want to say 2008. They did make a movie about her story and how it actually ended. So I initially learned about this through my own grandmother. A lot of you who actually know me personally know that my family is from the deep South, okay? I have generations and generations of family members who are from the South. So this is a story that was definitely based in the South, and it's truly an honor to kind of tell or bring light to this story so that many of you, can just add it to our history archives. But nonetheless, let me go ahead and give you a little bit of background on who Lena Baker is. So you all, really quickly, I would just like to mention that Lena Baker was the first and only woman to be executed in the electric chair in the state of Georgia. She was executed in 1945 after she was convicted of murdering a man who had imprisoned her. Something that I would also like to highlight is that there were a lot of reports and a lot of people who locally stepped forward and said that, they remember this man actively kidnapping her. Some people even went on record as far to say as, sometimes she would go kicking and screaming with this man. Lena was born in 1900 in the small community of Cotton Hill. There, she and her family, which included at the time a brother and 2 sisters, did farm work for a living. Lena and her parents later moved to Cuthbert. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but Cuthbert, where she cleaned houses, she did laundry to support herself and her 3 children. Ernest B. Knight, commonly known as E.B. Knight, a local mill owner, hired her to care for him while he recovered from a broken leg. So the man that we're going to be discussing, his name is Ernest B. Knight, or he was also commonly known throughout history as E.B. Knight. Okay? So he was a local mill owner. He hired Lena to care for him while he recovered from a broken leg. It was later reported that Knight, who was white, began to lock Lena Baker in a mill for days at a time while he repeatedly sexually and physically assaulted her, you all. So that's very important for you to know. Not only was she kidnapped and imprisoned, but she was also repeatedly sexually abused. Lena Baker testified at her trial that Knight had forced her from her home on the evening of April 29th, 1944, and he had taken her to his grist mill, where he locked her in. Her testimony in court indicates that the two tussled over a pistol, which ended up killing Knight, okay? The trial lasted less than a day. The trial lasted less than a day. So the trial concluded with a guilty verdict, and it sentenced her to death, essentially. The governor at the time granted Lena a 60-day reprieve so that the Board of Pardons and Parole could review the case. In January of 1945, the board denied clemency. Her execution date was rescheduled for March the 5th, 1945, and she was taken to state prison on February 23rd, 1945. She went to death claiming her innocence. Like, if you look up the story, she was very adamant about what happened. She went into detail about this truly being self-defense. She felt like it was literally her only choice. She held that story until the time of her death. In 2005, Lena Baker was pardoned by the state of Georgia. She was pardoned in 2005, you all. Keep in mind, she was executed in 1945. Okay? The board acknowledged that the 1945 decision to deny Lena Baker clemency was a grievous error, and that she could have at least been charged with the lesser crime of voluntary manslaughter. So she was pardoned 60 years later. Okay? So, as I said, this is a story that I have not heard too much about. And I am going to go ahead and ask a couple of questions and kind of see what we could come up with. So, you all, let's go get into it. Hey, you all. So I have already pulled some cards here so that we can go ahead and take a deep dive into today's reading. I'm only going to be asking a few questions. However, before we get started, I want you all to take a moment, like, subscribe, notify, share, all that good stuff. But also, most importantly, make sure you visit www.botanicavenus.com, which, as you all know, is my online spiritual store. So let's go ahead and get into today's reading. So our very first question is, what advice does Lena Baker have for the collective currently? Okay, so like I said, as you can see, I've already pulled some cards. So there are many messages that I feel coming through. When I first laid the cards down, something that I heard was, I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Something that I am really picking up from this reading is that her spirit doesn't necessarily want us to be worried about her. However, she does want this to be an opportunity for the mass or the collective to learn something about her life, about her story, about the general essence of community, humanity, and spirit. I'm picking up that she has a lot of mental clarity now. There's an energy of sadness. Like there's a lot of emotion. I feel as though there are some things that she regrets. There's like a youthfulness to her energy that's coming up. And when I say that, it's more of like a concern about the descendants, about the children, about the prosperity of those that have come after her. She really wants not only for these people to live well and to be emotionally okay and to really be loved on, but she also really wants them to be prosperous. Something that I'm seeing is that also some of her descendants, she's wishing and wanting that for them to connect back to spirit. I feel like this is kind of already leaning into my next question, which is, some of the messages that she had for her descendants. But she wants to see people in general, not only her descendants, but she wants to see people in general return and have a connection back to the divine. She really wants people to cherish the time and the moments that they have here. She really wants people to really be fulfilled in life and not to just only be fulfilled with material possessions. Like, this is really a sense of truly being grateful in in your life, like being grateful for literally everything, being grateful for the small things. This is being grateful for waking up in the morning, for having 10 toes, 10 fingers, or whatever your blessings are. She literally wants you to count those blessings and name them one by one. This is also this reading, as far as what advice does she have, she really wants you to be fulfilled. But she also, like, there's just like this energy coming up here of that there also needs to be a connection as far as like spiritual fulfillment, understanding that we are multidimensional in a sense, that there are multiple parts. There's a physical and there's the spiritual, and she wants to see her descendants and people also connecting back to the divine. You all, I don't know, y'all, I just explained that so much harder than what it had to be, but that's what's coming through in the reading. Okay, her message for the collective is actually multi-layered. She wants to see y'all prosperous. She wants to see y'all happy. She wants to see people not worried or caught up in the mundane of things, constantly worrying about where your fulfillment or where your hard work or your long time hard work is going to pay off. She wants you to understand that it pays off right now. It pays off in how you live your life. Gratitude coming from internal validation and happiness as opposed to external circumstances. She talks about if your thoughts and your wants and your needs in this lifetime, if they equate to physical things, or you tie your self-worth to external factors, she talks about you never being happy. Never being happy. I get an energy of this is like if you're serving the Lord. Hear me out, okay? This is what I'm getting. Serving the Lord and serving spirit is one of the highest things that you can do in this lifetime. And that in itself, she talks about being something that is good and it's enough. Her spirit is giving me like just this really humble energy. And she really wants everybody to literally just be happy and live their life to their highest purpose that they can. She doesn't want people to, and I think it's very interesting, you all, because I am doing this reading on November the 1st, but she talks about your life meaning something while you're here, and she really wants you to indulge, be present, and be happy in the moments that you do have with your family, because you don't know when your life can be taken away. A message, just as a download that's coming through right now, is that, death is real. It's ran. I'm literally hearing, let me say exactly what I'm hearing, is that no man knows the day or the hour. So she's talking about really being present and really being in an area of peace while you're here, and loving on and enjoying what it is exactly that you do have right now while you have breath in your lungs, while you have air in your lungs. These are the things that she wants the collective to gear their focus and their thoughts to. I am hearing a lot of Bible verses, you all. I'm hearing a lot of Bible verses, but all have sinned and fallen short, right? But what I'm getting is this is more of the energy of like we fall down and we get up. But the important thing is that you continue to get up. This is very, very sweet. She's talking about this life being uniquely and divinely yours. And she wants everybody to be surrounded with love in the purest form, literally every single step of the way. And she really wants you all to be fulfilled with life. I also want to point out here, I know you all couldn't see it earlier, but the 9 of Cups in this particular reading, it has an affirmation at the bottom. It talks about, I trust in the flow of life. She wants you to literally trust yourself, trust spirit, trust the way that things unfold in your life, because it's all divine. So that is what the current advice she has for the collective at this time. Okay, I've already went ahead and pulled cards for our next question. And this, I'm sorry, you all, I was going to switch decks, but I'm just loving the energy of this deck today. I feel like it's giving what the hell it's supposed to give. And it's really, the messages are really coming through clearly. So I'm reading with this deck for the second question as well. So our next question is, what does she want, her descendants to know? And I think that this is a really, her energy is just actually quite lighthearted, to be honest. And she has a lot, okay, that she wants her descendants to know. So she, first of all, there's something that's coming across here is there's like almost an apology of her not actually being able to be present for longer than she was. She feels like having some of the relationships that she had in her life, and I'm literally picking up the energy of E.B. Knight, the man that used to imprison her as well, is who she's talking about. But she feels like some of the relationships in her life, like that one, have played a part in her not being here. But she's also come to a certain place of acceptance, and she would like you all to know that that she lived, in her opinion, to the best of her abilities, and she lived the life that she could with what she felt like she had. Something that is coming up, she's highlighted some things in her bloodline that she wants to change or to see change. It's almost you all, it's almost like a motivational talk in a way. She wants them to know that there will be good times, there will be bad. There will be times where they will be unsure. We've got the reverse Ten of Swords. We've got the Nine of Wands showing up in this reading. There's going to be times where you're, where you're exhausted, where you feel kind of stuck. Also, let me show these cards. I'm really getting a lot of channeled messages here. So I'm just going to say them all before I forget. But she wants her descendants to know that there will be good times and there will be bad times in this life. She really wants her descendants to also remember and know that life is definitely choice driven. Your choices and how you proceed to go on with your life after things you feel like things in your life have fallen apart are definitely important. She wants them to make solid and good decisions, not necessarily based off of what they think things look like or what has happened to them in the past. She also says that, sometimes people aren't going to help you. She says that sometimes you may feel like you're not loved. There's going to be people that you run into your life that hurt you, or that make you feel like you're not loved, or like you're not valued, or I actually think that sometimes opening yourself up to others and the relationships that you allow to come into your life is somewhat generational, and that's something that she's highlighting in this reading. Something that I would like to also point out here is that, we've got the Emperor in this reading. Something that is on this particular depiction of the Emperor is he talks about making empowered choices. She wants you to know that you have every necessary tool in your life, which is also further confirmed right here. Y'all, this reading is literally like a sermon. I'm so happy I did it. She's very much happy that I'm taking the time to get these messages out. So I hope that they are well received. But this is about you being your own worst enemy at times in your life. And she knows how that can be. She knows that, life can really get you in your thoughts. Life can really get you in your head. But she also wants you to know that you can become the emperor. You can have stability. You can have structure. You can lead. You don't have to let generational things define you. You can overcome it. With the reading as well, it's also really important not to put yourself in boxes. A lot of the boxes that some of her descendants have faced or are going to face is just that boxes that they have put themselves in mentally. But she doesn't necessarily see it that way. She feels like, especially with the Emperor and these other cards that are coming in, is that they have more than what she felt like she had, and she just knows that these people can do it. Avoid the advice is, avoid things such as burnout. Understand that you can take different roads at any different time in your life, and you don't necessarily have to settle with the road that you're on. This is very, very, very much empowering reading. I do see, anxiety, descendants fighting anxiety, descendants fighting depression intermittently, right, throughout their lifetimes. But her gently assisting her loved ones with overcoming these particular obstacles, and also seeing, in her opinion, that there are also still ways out. So overall, it's a very, 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 very motivational energy. I don't necessarily get the feeling that people, that her descendants feel like they're alone, but they're gonna face obstacles in romantic and personal relationships and things like that. That kind of damage their hope and their heart sometimes. Something I just saw, I'm going to put this on the camera as well so you can see it, but the Ace of Cups right here also it's showing up in reverse, and it also has an affirmation on it as well. I welcome love and trust what it brings. If you all remember from one of the first questions that we asked, is that she was very much so adamant about the universal love and tapping into the divine. Sometimes I have to tell my clients is that you don't let life happen to you. You happen to life. And that is an excellent example of what it is that she's trying to say here to her descendants. So that's what I got for the second question. Let's go ahead and move into our next.